Welcome to Viewin' and Reviewin', where I pull older movies off the shelf, watch them, and let you know if I believe they're worth your time to watch or not. I'm Bobby T, your online video store clerk, and I'll be searching through my VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray collection to find titles that I think may be interesting to review. In today's episode, I'll be reviewing 1979's The Warriors, directed by Walter Hill and starring Michael Beck, James Remar, David Patrick Kelly, and Deborah Van Valkenburg. Let me read you the Ultimate Director's Cut DVD cover. Can you dig it? Director Walter Hill claims his turf with The Warriors' Ultimate Director's Cut. It's the stunning must-see version of the classic film, loaded with special features that pack extra punch. The Warriors are ready to fight their way back to Coney Island, but standing in their way are some of the baddest, out-for-blood gangs in New York City. It'll take every bit of street smarts and every weapon they can find to make it back alive. Now, I remember watching this film on VHS when it first came out while I was in high school. My older brother told me how cool all the actors were. I remember seeing New York in all its grimy glory pre-mid-80s Renaissance. This film spoke to me, as well as many of my friends who saw a much grittier and much more personal version of gang life in New York that wasn't the glamorized West Side story that we had to watch in drama class. The Warriors was about being cool. It was about being tough. It was about being part of something bigger than yourself. And it was also about being on the run from thousands of bad guys trying to kill you for something you didn't do. And it did speak to my generation. The story of 9 street punks in a gang called the Warriors who go to an all-city gang meeting without weapons in order to set up plans for taking control of New York City as a whole. As one giant gang of 60,000 gang members strong versus 20,000 NYPD cops, they all see mob rule as a real possibility. Until someone kills Cyrus, the leader of all the gangs, and pins it on the Warriors as the NYPD shows up to arrest the entire chaotic lot of them. The leader of the Warriors is killed instantly, and the rest of them go on the run to try to make it across New York City at night to their home in Coney Island, where every gang in New York is trying to hunt them down along the way. It's fairly Odyssey-esque in how the story unfolds, revealing how each warrior has their own personality, and each gang they encounter has a different set of dangerous qualities that prove to be both frightful, sometimes enticing, and always downright dangerous as the warriors try to make their way back home. Now, I know the film looks old in the trailer. It may look old on DVD as well. But with the exception of hairstyles and crazy bell-bottom ugliness, the themes in some of the outlandish gangs genuinely stand the test of time. The Warriors are tough, scared, impulsive, and they fight amongst themselves just like real gangs or families would. I think they got it right with most of the portrayals, even if they shaded a bit toward caricature sometimes. I will say, though, that the Baseball Furies, now that was an eerie gang you wouldn't want to meet up on the street with their crazy Kiss band face masks, the silly baseball costumes, and their dangerous baseball bats. Very cool throwback stuff. The fight sequences won't make you forget the Marvel Universe type battle choreography, but the dangers the Warriors face are all too real as they have to bop their way back to Coney Island. But I would also have to be remiss if I didn't call out one major misstep done to the 2005 DVD release in my hand. In the original theatrical release, the VHS transfer, and even the original DVD transfer like I have right here, the transfer may be darker and grainier than I'd like, but it has the film the way I and countless other fans remember this movie. Unfortunately, in all their stupid wisdom, the director and studio decided in 2005, mind you over a quarter century later, they created the ultimate director's cut with a cleaner transfer, but inserted a bunch of nonsensical comic book slides and transitions that absolutely killed whatever nostalgic quirks this already terrific cult film had going for it. And on top of that, they removed any trace of the original theatrical release. So if you want to watch it the way it originally was, you have to track down an old DVD like this one, or you're stuck watching the very much inferior Ultimate Director's Cut version both on DVD and Blu-ray and on digital. It's one thing if it's adding something to a film to release a longer, better version, inserting deleted scenes fans might have been clamoring for, stuff like that. But here's the thing. it's like 30 seconds longer. They just added the cheesy cartoon transitions that literally could have had the name Captain Obvious printed on them, and they added a 30-second cartoon opening, making it seem more epic in scope about some small group of Persians or whatever they had. I mean, nothing to do at all with the story. When it didn't need any of that. I mean, that's it. No new undiscovered scenes. They cheapened a classic, beloved cult film and made it a comic book. So, let me say, my grades will be based on the film in its original form, not the new director's cut. If you're a fan of the original version, find this DVD used somewhere. The only good thing about the new director's cut has going for it are retrospective interviews, nothing else. And you can thank me later. If you've never seen this film before, watch the original theatrical version first and only. Then watch the director's cut if you liked it. Otherwise, skip the director's cut altogether. It really is a step in the wrong direction for us purists out there that love this film. So, my overall report card of the original film, it looks like this. Does it stand the test of time? Surprisingly, yeah. I'd give this a B+. Like I said before, it definitely looks like 1979. Nothing you can do about that. It is what it is. But the chase sequences, the urgency and desperation of both predators and prey, the dirty atmosphere of the Big Apple and all its griminess, I mean, this is a thing of celluloid beauty. Story. Alright, this isn't going to win any Pulitzer Prizes. It's a chase film. I'd say the story is maybe a B. You have 9 gang members at the beginning of the film, then the chase begins and they are slowly trimmed down one by one as they meet up with formidable gangs intent on killing them. What's cool though is each gang they come upon is distinctly different in not only name, but in mannerisms and dress. It's a throwback, and that's a good thing. Cast. Well, as much as I love the film, they got some of the cast wrong. I'll give it a B-. Swan's their leader, but he's fairly boring. We're supposed to cheer for him, but he's more mother hen than leader. Now James Remar as Ajax though, now that guy is an A+. Talk about a badass. I'm sure he was the closest they had to a real gang member in this gang. The rest of the gang were guys we cheer for, but once we get to know them, they aren't really memorable. But one of the creepiest bad guys in all of cinema is totally David Patrick Kelly as Luther. His iconic bottle-clanking evilness, warriors come out to play, comes through every time you watch this film. Is it any wonder that he went on to a career of crazy nut jobs for decades in Hollywood? Now I will say, Deborah Van Valkenburg as a braless Mercy the Wonder Whore was really good. Her character arc was wise-ass, loudmouth prostitute with a ridiculous orphan gang to ally to future girlfriend-to-be of the leader of the Warriors. It was really well played. Her scene on the train with Swan sitting across from the rich prom kids was done completely in silence, but you know in that scene that both Swan and Mercy realize who and what they are, but they also see a possible bright future if they can ever make it there. It was a scene with depth and emotion that you don't normally see in a gangbanger action flick. Cinematography. This is a solid B+. It's a film shot around the same time as The Taxi Driver, so you know you're getting old school rotten Big Apple to the core in all of its grit and glory. Plus, it was shot at night. They were under a time crunch to edit the film before a competing gang flick called The Wanderers would be released, so some editing may feel not as clean as we'd like, and it's possibly why they went with the new updated cartoon silliness, but that can be forgiven. I heard that the cinematographer pleaded on the opening sequence to use the rainmakers on a limited budget to create a rainstorm so they could shoot the rest of the film in water-soaked streets, thus giving them more interesting lighting options, which I think made the film that much more brilliant. They did a similar ploy in one of my favorite Walter Hill films, Streets of Fire, and the surrealistic lighting worked to perfection in both films. The music. Now don't laugh, but I'm giving this a B+, personally, not for you guys, just me. Not because it's a super stimulating soundtrack that I'm dying to go out and purchase. It's because it fit the film like a glove. I give bonus points to films that use music to tell their story without breaking into song. There are a few tracks you'll recognize if you're a child of the times, but it's the chase music played throughout that really made the film. The constant synth driving the gangs forward as they ran or fought or just chilled. It was a thing of beauty that really isn't, but it is. And using just the zoomed in on mouth of a semi-famous actress speaking code over the radio to the other gangs in the city, then playing a song that pretty much told them exactly what they were supposed to do to the Warriors. I mean, come on. If you're the Warriors and you hear "Nowhere to Run" pointed at you by the DJ from hell, sheesh, I mean, it was inspired storytelling without using voiceover. Good job. Cult films are always hard to give an overall score to because some people adore them and some people think the critic lost their sense of taste and their marbles. But I'm a fan of this film, so based on the above scores, I'm going to give this film a B rating. In the grand scheme of moviedom out there in the horizon, this film probably deserves a lower rating, but it's beloved by a whole lot more people than just myself. If you've never seen this film before and watch it now, you'll probably be underwhelmed, and that's understood. It's a relic from back in the day. But for all of us from this era that watched this film when we were young and more impressionable, this is a genuine classic that not only stands up to the ravages of time, but it feels almost epic in its scope of pitting 8 pitiful gang members against a city full of badasses, and the movie ends the way it's supposed to. I really love this film. Those of you that love this film back in the day, you'll love it today too. But if you're new to the Warriors universe, realize that the ultimate director's cut is anything but ultimate, and know that your parents really did love something that was cool in the day. So, here are a few other recommendations of films along the same vein. Escape from New York. I might recommend this movie more often than I should, especially given its dated look, and 1997 never had New York City turned into a prison, although maybe it should have been. But this post-apocalyptic looking cult masterpiece with Kurt Russell playing the iconic Snake Plissken being chased by pretty much the entire New York City underground, it's a vision to behold on Blu-ray especially. Class of 1984. It's from around the same era as The Warriors. This is a film about a gang of high school students that they very loosely they look like high school students since they look closer to 40 than 18. But the gang terrorizes the new teacher on the block until he decides to fight back. And lastly, although I'd love to put another awesome Walter Hill movie here like Streets of Fire, which I'll be reviewing in the near future, I think it'd be more appropriate to recommend Assault on Precinct 13, which is something people haven't heard about. The newer one with Ethan Hawke and Lawrence Fishburne, not the original. It's actually a really good, dark, action-packed film about a small police precinct that's closing during a snowstorm when a dangerous criminal has to be temporarily housed there at midnight on Christmas Eve, only to have all kinds of bad guys and dirty cops descend on the tiny group of cops who have to team up with the robbers to keep from getting killed. Well, that's it for The Warriors. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click the like button below. If you want to keep up to date on my future reviews, please click on the subscribe button below. If you want to purchase The Warriors on DVD, and remember, you heard it here, do not buy the Ultimate Director's Cut that I'll link to below if you just have to have it. It's for completists only that want all the retro interviews too. Go out and find the original theatrical version DVD right here that I have in my hand right now that looks like this. That's the only one to buy. Get a good look at it. You'll probably be able to find it on eBay or Goodwill or somewhere, or if you want to purchase any of the other titles I've mentioned earlier, please follow the Amazon links below. And if you have any suggestions for movies you'd like me to review, please leave a comment below. I'll see what I can do. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be sure to help others in need because it's always the right thing to do. Have a great week.